Pregame.com.
One of the best rivalries in all of college football is not going to be televised by ABC for the first time in 30 years. This is Brad Powers, Pregame.com studios, just off the Vegas Strip. College football regular season winding down. Time for one of my favorite rivalries in all of college football. It's the big game, Ohio State at Michigan.
Michigan should have won straight up last year. There are still some that feel they did win. The refs took it away. Who do you like this year?
Actually, I'm going to go with the total here as the best value. That's right. We're going to go under 50.5. And let's talk about this Michigan offense. It looks decent against the poor competition that they faced so far this season. They've scored at least 27 points per game against 8 of their 11 opponents. The problem is when they faced a top 25 defense in Penn State, in Michigan State, and Wisconsin, their offense, that conservative offense, has been anemic. How about averaging just 11 points per game? And this week's opponent, the Ohio State Buckeyes defense, borderline top 10 defense. I question if this Michigan offense can have any success whatsoever. That's why we're leaning with the under 50.5.
And it's not going to get any easier for Michigan with a key quarterback injury.
Yeah, what's given life to their offense in recent weeks has been the insertion of their redshirt freshman Brandon Peters, and they're up last week against Wisconsin, 10-7, second half. They're having some success moving the football. They get a touchdown that's called back, an egregious call, but he gets hurt. He gets knocked out of the game. He's carted off the field. He's in concussion protocol right now. He's questionable, but I'm thinking he's more doubtful than questionable, and if he doesn't play, significant downgrade in the pass game if they go with John O'Korn.
Yeah, and I was on the under in the Whiskey Michigan game, and frankly, I've liked a lot of unders in Michigan games, and the reason being is we've seen some funky touchdown scores that really should not have occurred in many of their games.
No question about it. And maybe you haven't been cashing a lot of tickets on the under in Michigan games, but you should have been. Let's go back to the opener, one of the worst beats of the season as far as an under pick. I mean, you got a game there where it has not one, not two, but 3 defensive touchdowns, puts the game over in the final minute by 5 points. The very next week, their game barely goes over against Air Force because of 2 non-offensive touchdowns. They also, against Wisconsin last week, you clearly had the right side. You cashed that ticket, and yet there's still kind of a fluky punt return touchdown that Wisconsin had in the game. So I think there's tremendous value back in the under in this one.
Let's talk side here. I am on the University of Michigan here, getting the points. It's all about Ohio State really struggling when they play any kind of decent team on the road, both this year and last year. I know they beat Oklahoma, but how many times do we have to see them laying 17 against the Sparties, against the Iowas, against the Penn States of the world, and then struggling life and death just to win the game straight up? Where are you on the side?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm taking Michigan. I think Ohio State's been a little bit overpriced. They've seen them blow out Michigan State, seen them really take it to Illinois. People are thinking style points really matter, and they do to a certain extent here. But come on, this is a big rivalry game. You're laying double digits. Pure power rating, even though I have the Buckeyes as the number 3 team in the country, says this should be closer to 10, maybe even 9, not the 11.5 or 12 where it's sitting while we're taping it.
Your second key handicap.
Let's talk about the weather. Big factor in the Midwest when you're handicapping games. Blustery conditions, the wind, which is a major factor as far as the total. Looks like it's going to be 15-plus mile per hour winds. And great stat from Bet Labs that I read this season. If you just blindly back the under, any game that has 10 or more mile per hour winds, how about 45, 31, and 1 against the spread? 59%, not too bad.
Yeah, and I expect Ohio State to be ultra-conservative. That's what they are on the road in these big games. There are others, however, that point out, and it's a good point, that they went ahead and played a hurry-up offense against Sparty, hurry-up offense against Illinois, looking for style points. Any concerns there?
Slight concerns, but, I mean, it's going to be tough to put up a lot of points. I mean, there's only one team all year that's put up points on this Michigan defense, and that was Penn State. So if I'm looking at the whole entire of the season, and it says Ohio State's not going to have a tremendous amount of success, and I look at past history of the Buckeyes. I mean, you look at their questionable play calling, and J.T. Barrett, can you really trust him in a big spot on the road? Had a great performance against Penn State, but he's right back to it the next week against Iowa, throwing 4 picks.
You know, I really like this pick. I'm going to throw out a bonus parlay pick, a correlated parlay. I think Michigan's going to get 17 points. And if they cover, this game's going under also. Michigan parlayed to the under, a really strong correlated parlay. Let's make your pick official, too.
Let's make it official, and that's a great pick as well. Under 50.5 is the pick here. Let's talk about Michigan's offense. It's anemic when it's playing top 25 defenses. It's averaged 11 points per game against Penn State, Michigan State, and Wisconsin. Oh, yeah, Ohio State has a top 10 defense. And weather could be a factor here, especially the wind. Right now, early forecasts say 15-plus mile-an-hour winds. And if you blindly back the under this season, anytime the wind's greater than 10 miles per hour, you'd hit 59%. Not too shabby. Add all up, a lower-scoring big rivalry game between Ohio State and Michigan. More videos at pregame.com.